Hey there, friends and neighbors. Welcome back to the Chronicles. Jedi Phoenix with you here as always. And for this video, I want to talk a little bit about one big part of the fan community, and that would be the fan films. Now, if you're like me, you've probably checked out quite a bit of fan films. I can remember, well, I'm probably showing my age, but I can remember all the way back to 2000, 2001, when the first of the fan films came out. And that was a different time. They didn't have HD cameras. YouTube wasn't the big giant that it is now. And Lucasfilm's attitude toward the fan films was pretty much, as long as you weren't trying to make money off of them, whatever, go crazy. And the beautiful thing about it is, the fans weren't trying to make money from it. Even if it cost them money to make them, they were just making these films because of their love of Star Wars, and some of them, I've heard, now have jobs with Lucasfilm or ILM or whatever have you, with their own production companies. So, that's just the beauty of the whole thing. But what I wanted to talk about today are five fan films, I should say, that I keep coming back to, that I've seen over and over. They're just some of the best of the bunch that I've seen. Some of them you may have heard of, some of them you may have not. Some of them go all the way back to the early days of the fan films. But I do think that each of them brings something great to the table, and I am going to leave descriptions, as always, for those films in the description for this clip. So make sure to check them out. First film I wanted to talk about is called Art of the Saber. This was made by two brothers, and this came out around 2001, 2002, I think, actually. There isn't really much of a plot. It's two warriors, two Jedi, who meet in a field for one. Well, the impression I always get of it is this one final showdown between two old adversaries. And the unique thing about this is there's really no definition of who's the hero and who's the villain. It's just the two figures. It's shot on location, so it's not like this blue screen or anything. And they actually make good use of some of Hans Zimmer's music for Black Hawk Down and Gladiator, and it is really worth a look. It's haunting in a way, the way it goes through the paces, but it very much is worth a look. The next video I want to talk about is Brains and Steel. This one is not really so much of a fan film as it is a tribute or an homage to not only Star Wars, but to The Princess Bride, specifically the big sword fight between Wesley and Inigo, which by itself is already a great clip. But what they do with this is, again, it's location shooting, and it's pretty much just that one scene, only done with lightsabers instead of swords. And it plays out really great. There's even a blooper reel at the end of the film. But the choreography of both this film and Art of the Saber before, the choreography is fantastic for the lightsaber fights. You can tell it was a lot of rehearsals that went into this and a lot of care into the choreography. Just to show you what some planning can do with, little planning, little ambition going to making a great film. The third film, you probably might have heard of this one, Ryan vs. Dorkman 2. This one came out in 2006, and this is a little bit of a better clarity. They did this one in HD. And even though it is part two, Ryan vs. Dorkman, it's, again, it's no plot. It's just two guys facing off in some industrial manufacturing center. It's just a Jedi showdown, pretty much. But the beauty of Ryan vs. Dorkman 2, the reason I'm nominating that one, is because even though the first one was good, it was as if the filmmakers saw that, well, took a look at their own work and said, you know what, I think we can do this bigger, badder, and better. And they did. The fight is more intense than the first time around. The production values are slick. It's just really an improvement over the first one. And I don't know if it's more of a remake or just a redoing of it, whatever you want to call it, but you don't need to see the first one to appreciate the second one. The second one is just great. But the one thing about Are the Saber, Brains and Steel, well, maybe not Brains and Steel, but Are the Saber and Ryan vs. Dorkman, it's pretty much just a lightsaber fight, and that constitutes the whole fan film. The second video, well, the number 2 spot I want to talk about is called A Question of Faith. This one we have an actual honest-to-God storyline. And again, this is probably one of the earliest fan films, around 2000, 2001. And the film quality of the link I'm going to post is not that great, unfortunately. But you got to remember, those were the days before HD cameras. But it's good enough that you can, I mean, it's not like you can't see the actors. You can see what's going on. It's just a little bit of a difference between the filmmaking now versus then. But this is a story that takes place about 2,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. So we're talking way before the prequels. And a rogue Jedi who wants to take over as ruler of the Sith has been marked for death by the Jedi Council. But before the Jedi Council can dispatch their group of investigators, or whatever you want to call it, the Dark Jedi's brother, a Jedi Master himself, wants to go and confront his brother to try to bring him back to the good side of the Force, whereas the brother, the Dark Jedi, wants to bring his own brother back to the, over to the dark side. And the beauty of this is it's location shooting, so it is outdoors. The choreography is crazy with the lightsaber fights. And this is not a short film either. I mean, you would have gotten your money's worth if you had to pay to go see this one. And one of the things that I like is, of course, I'm a stickler for movie soundtracks. What they did with this film is they didn't use Star Wars soundtracks. They took movie tracks from other movies, like Aliens, Alien 3, I think Waterworld is in there. And they just took the appropriate cues and sprinkled them throughout the movie. And it really enhances it. It's just, you've got to check it out. Honestly, it really is one of those that's just so good not to share. So those are 4 of the videos. The 5th one, if you're into fan films and you haven't heard of this next one I'm going to talk about, you're not looking hard enough on YouTube. And that would be Darth Maul Apprentice. This is what happens when you have more than just a bunch of guys with a video camera making a movie. This was an actual, honest-to-goodness production crew. Location shooting, props, costumes, the works. The movie is basically about how Darth Maul earns his Sith title as apprentice. It's basically his trial, if you will, that Sidious puts him through. And every time I watch this video, I have to remind myself that I'm not watching Ray Park. You know, it's a professional cosplayer who is dressed like Maul. He's got the makeup, and the makeup is dead on, straight out of the movies. And the moves, not just him, but the entire cast. If A Question of Faith had crazy fight choreography, this one is just flat out insane. And it's really, if you have not seen it, I don't know where you have been. And if you have seen it, you need to watch it again just to appreciate all of it. But again, these are just 5 films that I come back to. There are other films out there. If you know of other films, mention it in the comments. I will probably do another one of these 5 films to refer to at some point. Maybe even some reaction videos if I haven't seen them. Who knows? But, post me your comments. Tell me what you think. After you've go seen the movies, come back here. Let me know what you think of what I recommended. And until the next video, as always, be good, be well, be safe, be happy.